I want you to tie them well round the bend of the hook.
Further round the bend.
Because this helps the fly, when it lands, to land the right way up.
3 tails are typical of most kinds of mayfly.
Right, so you must have got that there.
Right, now the next step is to get your body material tied in. That's the dyed herl.
Rather aptly, a heron feather is used, a piece from the wing, dyed in picric.
Get it tied in at the tail and take it halfway up the hook shape.
Yep. Can we tie the nylon in at this point?
Yeah, tie your loop of nylon in there. I found about £5 or £6 or even £4 nylon was alright for the job.
Yes, it doesn't need to be too strong.
You want the loop tied in fairly loosely.
Yep.
The dexterity of a good fly dresser has an almost surgical air about it.
Right, the next stage is to get the hackle tied in. And what you really want for this is a nice sharp hackle, nice and short in the flue. I know they're difficult to get hold of, but...
You're not kidding.
Cockerels are bred specially to provide these fine hackle feathers.
Right, that seems to have got that in place. Right, now we turn the whole thing upside down now?
Well, I found that's the quickest way to do it.
The fly's wings are stamped out from small body feathers. The quill provides support.
But the other very important thing when we tie these wings in is that you've got to, after you've got the wings tied in, you must make sure you tie them in pointing slightly forward up over the eye. Now the reason for this is that if you don't do this, if they're completely vertical or sloping slightly backwards, when you start to cast, it presses the wings further back still, and then they don't act in the way that they should do to float the fly down on the surface.
The piece of heron wing makes the body.
Well, now you can turn the hook up the other way again, and then the last operation is to get that hackle spun in.
Right, we need this gallows tool, presumably.
Yeah. Well, again, that makes the whole operation much easier to use that.
Yeah.
Now, I've done a lot of experimenting with this, and I found that you want to get that hackle tied in very tight round the loop.
Yeah.
And you want ideally about 4 turns.
As the hackle winds round tightly, the fibres spring apart to make a rosette of legs.
Yeah, that's good. That's excellent.
Good. And we just got to pull that loop down tight on top of it all. Right, there we are then, John. Have a look at that.
Oh, that's super. You tie these better than we do, you know.
It's beautiful, John.
Anyway, there's one little point you've forgotten, and that is on all our patterns, all the flies we fish with, we remove the barb. So when you dress these, can you remove the barb after you dress each
That's no problem.
Off all of them?
Yeah, okay.
Removal of the barb prevents serious damage to the fish's mouth when it's unhooked. And so, from the tanks by the Kennet, an impressive selection of new patterns has been developed, nymphs as well as ink forms. Bright mayfly dressings, smaller fly with polythene wings, and two particularly lifelike imitations, the hawthorn fly and the black gnat. They're all ready for the opening of a new fishing season. The buds of May have burst, and hawthorn from a chill wind. Some are caught by a sudden gust, and there's no escape for them from the water's hold. For the trout, it's the first feast of the season, and the fish are ready and waiting.
I'll tell you what, I've seen scarce fish rise this morning.
Nor have I. Very little fly about at all.
Oh,
hold it. There's a fish rosa there.
Where?
Right with the other section. Look, quite a nice fish.
In the back eddy?
Yeah, right in the eddy there.
Question is, what's he king?
Well, look, you have a try for him.
No, you saw him. You take him.
All right.
He's your fish.
Right, well, what are we going to put on? I can't see any fly at all.
Well, I've seen a few hawthorns about. Why don't you give a try with our new song?
Yeah, that's a good idea. It'd be a good opportunity to try out. And when the fish are on it, they usually take pretty well. Let's give it a try.
Okay. I think that's the last going to do the trick, John.
Yeah, I think
I've seen
we've had some good results with this before.
The fly has to be tied tightly to the nylon filament. John uses a tucked blood knot.
It's going to be a long cast over there. Well, that's not too bad.
That's just about right, isn't it?
Yeah, let's get a little bit further over.
You're going to have to watch your back cast too. We've got a fence just behind
That's
us.
That's it. That's not bad.
The new pattern has worked like a charm. A 3-pound, 11-ounce brown trout, their first fish of the season, and in good condition for this time of year. All sorts of fishermen are about as spring eases into summer. There's a feeling of expectancy on the river as the hawthorn blossoms like snow. And this single fly is the forerunner of a quite remarkable event in the natural history of the chalk streams. After 2 years of growth and development, triggered by some alliance of temperature and day length, the mayfly nymphs begin to leave the gravel. The wing cases are black and mature. Their only drive now is upward. The transformation from swimming to flying is over in seconds. The speed of the molt is startlingly quick. No dragonfly or butterfly could match it. For speed of change is critical. Hungry trout are waiting for a tardy fly to float into view. But this emergent fly is not the final adult stage. Entomologists call them sub-imagines. Anglers call them duns. They can fly, but they can't feed. The mouthparts are degenerate. Their brief spell above water is for one reason only. Fluttering madly, the mayfly dun makes for the bank and the safety of the riverside plants. But even here, there are other smaller predators lying in wait. The huge hatch of duns towards the end of May is sometimes called Duffer's Fortnight by experienced anglers, because the fishing is supposed to be easier then. Certainly, a lot of trout are caught at this time, but then everybody is fishing. The trout can become crazed by the large, tasty insects, so that the artificial mimics become relatively unimportant. What is vital then is the pinpoint accuracy of the cast. Brian tries again with one of the new mayfly patterns. Within a couple of days of the hatch starting, a keen observer looking among the leaves can find these strange pairings: a bright new mayfly and its ghostly recent skin. And now, the fly makes its final and most remarkable transition. The adult mayfly, called a spinner, is more brightly coloured than the dun, and its wings are clear and shining. The tails are longer too. Just how it manages to moult one set of wings for another is a mystery. And it does it all so rapidly. Before long, every alder leaf has a mayfly sheltering on it. The time for mating has nearly arrived. When the breeze drops, the spinners take to the air. Swarms of males dance beside the riverbank, and passing females are attracted. And they're very attractive to the males. A single mayfly finally achieves his union. The others dance on regardless. His brief adult life is drawing to its close as he drops away. Trapped in the water, there's no escape for him now. The females have one final urge that takes them to the water too, rippling the surface in their final throes. But close to death, they still have one last act. A batch of eggs for the next generation that will have their brief aerial fling 2 years hence.